nationalatomictestingmuseum.org. That's nationalatomictestingmuseum.org.
When you bring your vehicle to Star Auto Care for maintenance, you'll have a team of professionals at your service. Every one of our technicians has been factory trained and master status certified to ensure that you receive the highest quality and most effective service. Star Auto Care is located at 3540 East Tropicana Avenue, just east of Pecos. Star Auto Care is confident in their prices and will match any mechanic located within 20 miles. Bring your vehicle in today and let Star Auto Care give you the peace of mind you deserve when you service your car. Visit them online at starautocare.us.
Whether you're a corporate executive on a family vacation or just passing through, St. Conveniently located near restaurants, shopping, and movie theaters. St. George Inn and Suites offers a variety of room types, a fitness center, full hot and laundry facilities. To make your booking, call 435-673-6661 or book online at stgeorgeinnhotel.com. You need to stop in Southern Utah? Make that stop at St. George Inn and Suites.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. You had a chance to catch the VGK game last night. Very entertaining game. Knights get off to a quick lead. First period, things are going great. And then all of a sudden they take some bad penalties, 5-on-3, and before you know it, they're down 2 goals. But, to their credit, they fight back like they usually do. They get the game tied, and then unfortunately give up a goal with about 90 seconds left. Listen, Tampa Bay's good, right? But fun game to watch, entertaining, not the result that the Knights wanted. So joining us on the line right now, somebody that I certainly love to hear and enjoy his commentary when it comes to VGK hockey. You see him on the team all the time. Of course, we're talking about Daren Millard right now. And Daren, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
My pleasure. I'm doing well at the rink right now, ready to go for a twirl with a couple of good buddies. So looking forward to it.
Well, I'll try not to keep you too long, my friend, but I appreciate you coming on. Tough loss yesterday. Tough loss yesterday, right, Daren? I mean, you get off to a great start. I know Coach Cassidy was talking about that when you play with the game. They get off to such a great start against a really good hockey team. What happened in the second period?
Well, it wasn't the second period. It was 3.5 minutes in the back half of the period. You look at the first 15 minutes of that frame, they played as well as they did in the first period, which I thought was a great response from the game in Carolina. And everything was going really well. And you got lit up in a small couple of minutes by a really good power play. And it wasn't like they were bad penalties. It was an inadvertent trip by Mark Stone. Not anything that was undisciplined, not anything that was caused by being out of position. He was going for the puck, and it was almost accidental in the sense of the infraction. And then the 5-on-3 was caused by Alex Pietrangelo knocking a puck over the glass, which wasn't even a shot. It was just trying to knock a puck out of harm's way. Puck that could have potentially flipped over and into the net. So it wasn't undisciplined. It wasn't being out of position and not following any type of approach by the head coach. It was putting yourself in a bad position by just being hockeyed in a way. And the Tampa Bay Lightning took advantage of it. The one that you'd really like to get yourself out of was the third goal, but you're on your heels after they score on both halves of the 5-on-5, and even the best teams with the most balance to them be able to handle things emotionally during the course of the game can fall victim to it. But then the response after that was pretty impressive in that third period, being able to come back and be able to tie the game. So there was a lot more to like out of that game.
Sure.
A game that you lose in regulation than you weren't happy with, which makes it hard to digest because obviously the Stanley Cup champions aren't in the business of moral victories.
Yeah, I agree with you. And maybe a good characterization would be maybe a little bit unlucky in that second period. I think you're right. And the fight to come back.
I said last night they deserved to win, but they didn't.
Right.
And it's hard to characterize a game like that.
I think what really sucks is they didn't even get it to overtime. I think if you get it to overtime, you get that 1 point, then you're feeling okay. And what really sucks
I'll give you another example of bad luck is so the puck is put on net by Point. Right. It goes to the sideboards, and Paul's not in a great position, but it goes right to him, which is unlucky. And Yuri Patera slides over. And what time of the game is that? That's a minute to go in the third period. after 60 minutes of full hockey. Maybe the ice isn't perfect, and Yuri Patera, I'm not sure whether you caught it, but his pad flipped over,
right,
and it causes him to fall over into a dive position, when instead every goaltender, Patera included, makes that play 100 times out of 100, positionally intact, and is there on his feet with his chest facing forward, and it's a much easier save. And he got bit either by the pad just flipping over because it grabbed, or it was bad ice, and that led to the puck going in the net. So that adds to what was an unfortunate end of the second period.
Yeah, and I think you would agree with me that for the most part, maybe even 50 to 55 minutes of this game, the Vegas Golden Knights outplayed this Tampa team, but unfortunately they come away with no points, and I think that's what makes it very frustrating, right, Daren?
Well, you had Tampa Bay rattled in the third period. Like, Kucherov is a Stanley Cup champion, a Hart Trophy winner, and he totally became unhinged. Andrei Vasilevsky was off his game talking to the officials. You managed to do everything possible and put a very resilient team into an uncomfortable position. So there's, once again, it was a great game. It was a fun game to watch. It was back and forth.
Sure.
If you're a fan of the teams, you're highly entertained. If you're just a regular hockey fan with nothing invested in either side, you were entertained. And Tampa Bay came out on the good end of it. But I think that there was a lot of positives off the Carolina game, which honestly I chalked up to being more of a schedule loss than anything else.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that. If you're just joining us, he is Daren Millard, VGK TV radio analyst. All right, Daren, I want to ask you this because I think we both could agree injuries happen in hockey. Sometimes it's luck involved, right? Especially at the goaltender position. That's going to happen with every franchise. I wanted to ask you this because, I'm listening to the airwaves yesterday, and you got into a debate, discussion, heated debate, whichever way you want to characterize it, with a host here in town who almost made it seem like, and correct me if you disagree with me, that the Knights were somehow at fault because he called it a goalie injury issue, right? Can you tell me what happened in that discussion? Because I'm confused. Just tell me what happened there.
Yeah, I'm not going to get too far into it because I want to turn the page from that. But the insinuation was that the medical staff were putting players into a challenging position with their health, and that was the furthest thing from the truth. It was in reaction to Logan Thompson battling through the third period in the game against the Ottawa Senators, in which he was able to finish off that game. Obviously, at one point in that period was facing some discomfort, but Bruce Cassidy, quickly after the win, was able to discount any concern going forward from Logan into the road trip, and was confident that he was able to play. Logan was able to suit up on Tuesday against Carolina, played the first two periods, and down 3 or 4-1 going into the third period. If there was any issues with Logan Thompson and his health, he would not have come out and played that third period, but he did. And he played and was eventually lifted from the game, not because of health, but because it was a mercy pool. They weren't going to come back. Why not get him some rest? Because he's going to be the guy going forward. He was diagnosed afterwards before the game in Tampa with an upper body injury, which obviously, if there's upper body and there's lower body, the lower body was the Sunday game in which he was stretching his knee. Those aren't connected. And I wasn't happy with the blanket assumption that the Golden Knights were in somehow way putting a player at risk when they were two totally different situations. So I'll leave it at that. But I'm very confident and very respectful of what the Golden Knights have. From a medical training standpoint and their team doctors.
Very well said. I'm on your side. I'm just going to say this in general terms. Like, you look at last year and the injuries, particularly at the goaltender position the last several years. They won the Stanley Cup last year. How can you criticize a team when they look what they went through last year and they won the whole thing? That's what gets me. I'm mesmerized, Daren. I am.
Look, this franchise from year number one has had an eventful ride with goaltenders.
Right.
I talked to Derek Englund last night about it and what they went through in months 2 and 3 in year number one. 2 years ago, they had some challenges. Last year, we know that they started 4 different goaltenders and won all 4 games. That was a record that has stood up in the National Hockey League. And now this year, you lose both your goaltenders in the matter of a couple of days. But it's not unique. I went through it with the guys on In Goal Radio, the podcast today, and we totaled up 7 teams that are right now without one of their 2 goaltenders,
Sure.
and a couple of them are down to their 3rd and 4th string goaltenders.
It happens all the time.
It's nothing specific to the Vegas Golden Knights and shouldn't be treated as such.
Darren, last question here about this. Like, you've been doing this a long time. You're very good at what you do. Do you feel like, and I'm saying this in a general term, some people in the media, they just want to make an issue out of something when there is no issue there? You've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, it's getting more and more like that. I think we've seen a growth in that with social media, and you want to create conversation. I do it on my radio show. I'll say bring up topics that maybe I'm not believing 110%, but it's good conversation, and it'll get my co-hosts involved in the discussion, and it gets the listeners involved, and it causes interaction with our listeners. I'm not certainly one that has not gone down the path. It's just when you bring in people's careers and their character and what they do for a living, you're not just talking about a player here. You're talking about trickle down effect, and that's why I was bothered by it.
Understood. Where we're at now in the season, would you say that you would still consider the Vegas Golden Knights one of the best teams in the NHL, even with the injuries they have, and one of the serious contenders to go back-to-back and maybe win another Stanley Cup?
Yeah, they've been wire to wire in the Pacific Division. They have not been outside of top spots or a share of top spot in the Western Conference all year. And given what we witnessed a year ago when they played 5 different goaltenders throughout the year and played those 4 goaltenders in 4 different games and were still effective, this is a team that can get through it. And I think you're hopeful to get Shea Theodore back sooner than later, which would give you your starting 6th defenseman. They've had that one game all year, and they're still in first place. If you can get the goaltender somewhat healthy, but it is a goaltender-friendly environment, we know that they can be effective with that. And with the season that Jonathan Marchessault is having, a 40-goal pace, Jack Eichel is pushing a career pace this year. Mark Stone has been really effective. William Karlsson's back to his offensive load, looking at a 40-goal return from year number 1. I think this team has all the confidence in the world that they can produce wins and challenge for a top seed in the West, if not a President's Trophy.
I tend to agree with you. I have no reason to think otherwise that this team can't contend for another Stanley Cup. Darren, I love what you do, my friend. Keep up the great work, and I won't be blaming any trainers or anything for injuries. I'll never do that. I can only promise you that. Okay, my friend?
Yeah, you don't want to feel my wrath. I think we learned that yesterday. I was a little disappointed that it became more of a story than it needed to be, but I stand by what I said.
No, and I appreciate you talking about it with me. And like I said, I appreciate your work. You're very good at what you do, and we'd love to have you on again down the road, my friend. I hope you and your family have a great Christmas, by the way. And thanks, Darren, for your time. Appreciate you.
Call anytime. Appreciate the words.
Thanks, Darren. Appreciate that. That's Daren Millard, and I mean that. I think he's really good at what he does. He's a great analyst. Let me be very clear on this, and I'm not going to be diplomatic, okay? The person who asked him that question knows nothing about hockey. The person who asked him that question, haven't seen him once at a Vegas Golden Knights hockey game. The person who asked that question probably shouldn't be on the radio. Now, I didn't want to say that when Darren was on this show, but you're damn right I'm going to say it right now. Sometimes can people be a little sensitive to protect others? Perhaps. Injuries happen to every hockey team. Sometimes there's a lot of luck involved. It's a stupid question. The way to phrase a question like that would be, well, the Vegas Golden Knights, they've had some injuries at the goaltender position. How do you think they get out of this? And do you think they can still contend? There are ways of asking a question without being an idiot. And yes, the person who asked that question, idiotic, shouldn't be on the radio, in my personal opinion. Then again, I'm not a general manager and I'm not a program director. So it is what it is. I appreciate Daren Millard answering those questions eloquently, explaining to me why he was upset. And by the way, Millard's been doing this for a long time. He's respected. He's been in this business a while. He's a TV analyst for an NHL hockey team. The person who asked that question has probably never skated in their life, knows nothing about hockey. It's ridiculous. You know, and it is also interesting to me, and this is throughout the country, by the way, where we have these millennial pukes across the country, people in their mid to late 20s, you know, that think they know everything about any sport that they talk about. They know everything. They know anything. When they don't even go to games, they don't even cover the team, and they've never played the sport in their life, but yet they know everything about everything. I don't know. I just don't understand it. I'll never understand it. Certain people that are on the air in this town, I just don't get it. I appreciate Daren Millard coming on the show and setting the record straight there. I did want to ask him about that. And, of course, the very entertaining Vegas Golden Knights game last night. It was a very entertaining game. Knights were on the wrong side of it, but it was a fun game to watch. And he's right. You know, there was some bad luck involved there in the second period where there's like a 3 or 4 minute stretch there. It reminded me a little bit of that San Jose Sharks for other reasons in the playoffs, where remember when they had the 5-on-3 and there was a plethora of goals, but that was on the officials. This was just bad luck penalties. But I appreciate Daren coming on. He's really good at what he does, and he'll be back on again soon. All right, speaking of somebody that's pretty good at what she does, it's been a little while since we had her on the show. Of course, I always like to introduce her because it just sounds nice to say this, pastor turned stripper. But she is an OnlyFans model, and she is a very, very successful OnlyFans model, and it's always a pleasure to have the very beautiful and talented Nikole Mitchell joining us on the line. Nikole, good to see you as always. How you doing?
I'm so good, Brian. Happy holidays. 'Tis the season. How are you feeling?
I am doing okay. I am ready for to be honest with you, a fun 3-day weekend. I need it. But speaking of which, I wanted to ask you, during the holidays, like on Christmas, are you still going to be on OnlyFans? Are you still working? Or do you just say to yourself, that's it, I'm taking a day or two off? Like, do you ever take a day or two off, or do you plan on working on Christmas?
God, that's such a hard question. I'm still deciding because it depends how Christmas Day goes. There's a good chance I'll take it off, but I work almost every day, and it's a good problem. I love working, Brian. I love hustling. I love grinding. I love my OnlyFans community. They are with me right now live. They are amazing. But I do sometimes have a hard time taking a day off. So there are days where I'll go on and say, hey, guys, I'm not going to be in the DMs today. I'll be in tomorrow. And they're so supportive and understanding.
Well, that's cool. I can appreciate that. I know for me, I'm just going to be chowing down on a lot of food. Christmas Eve, I'm going to be trying to enjoy myself, maybe spend some time with my family. But at the same time, always in the back of my head, hey, I got to do a radio show on Tuesday. So I got to think about guests and what I'm going to be doing on Tuesday. But I try to get that out of my mind, at least for moments. You know, I try to
totally get that. Like I was telling my OnlyFans today, I'm already planning my February event for OnlyFans. Like you almost never turn off. Like, you know, this as an entrepreneur and as a creative, and like you are someone who has to produce this content almost every single day of the week. I produce content every single day of the week. Like your brain is always on. It is hard to turn off. Yes,
it is hard to turn off. I try to do it from time to time. Let's try to get the negative news out of the way first, and then we'll get to some more positive stuff. But this is not good for Vin Diesel, right? Vin Diesel accused of sexual assault. I've been watching his movies for a very, very long time. What do you make of this story?
I mean, I shouldn't be shocked, which is even shocking to say that, right? We shouldn't be shocked because it just feels like sexual assault happens all the time. The stats show that majority of women will experience sexual assault at some point in their life, which is horrific. Yeah. And of course, when you're really powerful and successful and wealthy, I do think people feel like they're a little bit untouchable. And because they have so much power and wealth, that most people will not believe the underdog. They'll believe the powerful person, and they can pay to shut people up. So there's a part of me that's like sad that this is a reality. And then when I read what the accusations were, it made me like so sick to my stomach. And so I just want the truth to be out. If it is what he did, I want him to face the consequences of it, because no one should be treated that way. And come on, men, why? Just stop. Stop with the assaulting. Just stop.
I don't really comprehend or understand it. I guess I never really understood from the get-go why any man or woman would want to be with someone sexually who doesn't want to be with them, and then you would force it upon them. Like, I don't understand that to begin with from the start.
Yeah.
And then, not that it matters whether somebody's famous or rich, but it's like you would think when you have money, when you have fame, why you would want to coerce yourself like this upon somebody else. It doesn't matter whether you're homeless and you do this, but I'm just saying, like, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
And we just keep on hearing these stories from famous people over. Puff Daddy, obviously, we talked about that last time you were on, over and over and over again. I mean, I go back to the days where Fox News and Bill O'Reilly and all those payouts. And I just think to myself, this is a never-ending saga over and over and over again. I don't know what Vin Diesel did. I don't know if he's guilty. Hopefully it'll be proven or not proven in a courtroom. I don't know. But when these celebrities settle, right, a lot of them settle out of court because a lot of these cases are not criminal. It leads me to believe that they're guilty and they don't want to go through a trial. They don't want to go through a defamation suit or whatever it might be. So they say, hey, I'm rich. Here's a lot of money. Go away.
Yeah. It's so sad. And when I think about it, I'm like, what can I do? Because I'm a parent. You know, I have 5 kids, and I'm like, how can I raise my boys to never, ever, ever, and women, all genders? How can we raise all genders, but especially women or men, because it is an issue with men against women, to never, ever, ever violate another person? And so in my home, consent is a big deal. Like, for example, I remember one time I was walking out the garage and I put my hand on the back of my youngest, who I think was 7 or 8 at the time. And I was like, all right, let's go. He's like, I did not consent to you touching me. And I was like, oh my God, like, he's calling me out and he's right. I'm like, I'm sorry, your body. And so I just said, can you please go out in the garage and get in the car? It's like that strict in my house, because it just feels like I almost have to overcompensate for the lack of consent that is honored or given and heard and validated in our society. Because I just don't want this to continue in future generations.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Unfortunately, sexual assaults happen in this country every day.
Oh.
And my heart goes out to any of these victims. And to me, it's one of the worst crimes you could ever commit, a sexual assault. And sadly, as I've talked about on this show before, a guy who's running for president of the United States, again, our former president, has already been proven to be a liable rapist in a courtroom. I don't know how any woman or anybody really could vote for somebody like that. But, you know, you just hate the other side of the aisle so much that you would vote for someone that's a liable rapist. I don't know. I don't understand it, Nikole, but let's move on to some positive stories because you know, Christmas is right around the corner, New Year's Eve right around the corner, and there's a lot of really good feel-good stories out there. And this is one that I wanted to talk to you about because I just think it's so damn cool. There's a woman in Chicago that is 104 years old. Let me repeat that. 104 years old. And she just broke the world record for the oldest skydiver at the age of 104. I can tell you at the age of 43, if I jumped out of a plane, I would probably have a heart attack. This woman is 104. It's really unbelievable. It's such a cool story. What do you make of this?
Oh my gosh. First, it's mind blowing that she's 104, right? Not a lot of people live past 100, much less in any quality of life kind of way. And then to be at the point where you are still able to jump out of a plane and not have a heart attack and enjoy it's just like, I saw that story and I'm like, this is someone I want to emulate. I always tell my fans, I'm going to live till I'm at least 100 and I'm going to have a high quality of life. And then here's a woman who's beat me. She's 104, jumping out of a plane, which I've jumped out of a plane twice. I loved it. I don't know if I would do it at 100. So I have so much respect for this woman. If you hear this, we love you. We adore you. Thank you for inspiring us to live life to the fullest. You're absolutely incredible.
It's unbelievable. I'd love to interview this woman. It's such a cool story. You know, there's not many people that live that age in the world.
Yes.
And I'd love to know what she's been eating her entire life. I'd
exactly.
Like to dissect her brain.
She needs to give us her secrets. So you would not jump out of a plane, Brian?
No, I couldn't do it. I mean, listen, I never say never, but it's not something that I want to do. Let's put it that way.
What about bungee jumping?
No, not something I see. I want to do things that I enjoy, right? And like, it's just not something. It would be more stressful to me than fun, right? I don't even like getting into an airplane. So bungee jumping, roller coasters, that's it's just not my thing. Like I know what I like. I'm more of like, get me on the golf course, get me on the basketball court, like that's fun for me. Jumping out of airplanes and bungee jumping is just not, it's just not up my alley, I guess.
Is there an between golfing and bungee jumping? I'm like, we should do something together.
In between. Let me think about that. Golfing naked? I don't know. I'm sorry. That was terrible. You don't want to do that with me. That's for sure. Let me think here. In between something that is a leisurely activity, some would consider it a sport. I do. Golf and then bungee jumping, risking your life.
Maybe a roller coaster.
Maybe getting on a roller coaster. Yeah, that made me sick. So I was on a date. Yes, I do go on dates once in a while. I was at a very lovely hotel in Vegas called Circus. Very, there's Bellagio and then there's Circus. And I'm kidding. But I was at Circus on a date. This was several years back. This was before the pandemic, so maybe 4 years ago. And my date was very adamant. We were having a great time. And my date was very adamant. She wanted to go on a roller coaster. And I dread roller coasters. But I did it. And I can tell you, for the next 24 hours, I was sick. Oh. I had a headache. I was dizzy. It was awful. It was terrible. And the experience was terrible. I had to close my eyes the entire time. So not exactly something that I enjoy doing.
Yep. Okay. So we'll have to find, I think, even a slighter version, a calmer version than a roller coaster. Because
I'll do a Ferris wheel. I'll do a Ferris wheel. I'll go on the, what's it called? The, what's that thing?
The high roller?
The high roller. I'll do the high roller.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The high roller is very calm.
Have you been on it before?
I did it once, yes, and I actually enjoyed it very much. So the views were incredible. It was fun.
You got to do the one with the open bar.
Yeah, but I'm not much of a drinker. I'll have an open bar of soda water and cranberry juice. Yeah.
Still.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not much of a drinker. I don't know.
Because then if you get stuck at the top or something,
yeah,
at least you have something to drink.
I am a little claustrophobic too. I have a lot of problems as you're learning, but it's a pretty large little, what would you call it? Like a ball? Like what? It's large. Like it's not small. It can hold like 8 or 10 people in there. So it's, I didn't have any anxiety, but yeah, I'm a guy that doesn't like claustrophobic stuff. I don't like elevators. I just don't like that stuff. I guess I'm just not as adventurous as you thought I was. I don't know what to say.
I think you're adventurous in your own way, but I've not been on that in Vegas. So the next time I come to town, we should go on that.
It's a lot of fun. Actually, people propose on there all the time. Don't worry. I won't be doing that to you, but that'd be your worst nightmare. But I will, I would love to take you on that. That would actually, be a lot of fun. That would be quite enjoyable. What's so funny, Nubcheck? I can't read the comments. What did somebody say?
Blake's trying to have me get you to go get free booze tickets for the high roller.
Oh, free booze tickets. Yeah. I mean, I like my free stuff. Don't get me wrong. So I can try to do that. I don't know. Nikole, can you get a couple of your maybe some stripper friends to join us in there?
Oh my God. I'll get my hot girlfriends. We'll make it a night for you to remember, Brian.
I like that. I like that idea. Here's the thing, right? This would be my worst nightmare, but I would probably do it. If you told me that I'd be bungee jumping with like 10 Super 10 model Playboy Playmates, I would do it. That's a sacrifice, right?
You have to make sacrifices. You're willing to make.
Yeah, you have to make sacrifices in life. So that would be a scenario where I could actually see myself doing it. So since Christmas is right around the corner here, Monday, will you be dressing up as Santa Claus? Like, do you have any the Santa outfit? I find that to be extremely sexy. I know the Vegas Golden Knights, the cheerleader squad, they were in those Santa-esque type outfits at the game the other day. Do you dress in that ever?
I have a Santa Claus outfit. I have an elf outfit. I have a reindeer outfit. I have like a snow ball outfit. I wear all the sexy Christmas holiday outfits, Brian.
I like that. That. Too bad you weren't in Vegas. I would have made you show up in one of those outfits. Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right. I don't want to poo-poo on Santa Claus here. Okay. I don't want to poo-poo on Santa Claus.
Oh no. What did Santa Claus do?
This is an adult show. Do you find Santa Claus attractive? Because I think to myself, when I see Santa Claus with the large beard and the belly, and I feel like Santa Claus needs to take a shower. I don't know. That's just me. Okay. Like, do you find Santa Claus attractive at all?
I find Santa Claus attractive when I'm Santa Claus. I have not ever considered Santa Claus sexy until I stumbled upon this male model Santa Claus. He's probably in his late 50s, but he's like trim and tone, but he's like the sexy Mr. Claus. And I'm like, ooh, I could get behind that. Or
I did not know that there were models dressed up as Santa Claus.
Yeah, I'll just see if I can find his link and send it to you, because
I'm curious, because I'll be honest, there have been a few times where I did go to the show Chippendales on some dates, and listen, it turned out really good for me in the end, if you know what I'm saying. But like, what is your favorite outfit that you enjoy a man wearing, besides the outfit of, like, say, a 43-year-old radio host, which is, that's a natural thing for
which
me.
is the number one. Yes.
Right. Of course. That's a good answer. Good answer. Family Feud.
Yeah,
But like, what is like the outfit? Because I know you got like the firefighter outfits and the police out. Like, what is your outfit? You say that's your go-to. I love it when a man wears this.
Okay. Honestly, I have a few different answers. My probably favorite outfit on a man is when he's dressed up in a suit.
Oh.
I melt when a man is dressed classy.
Like a shirt and tie, like that type, or like what? Like a full-blown suit.
Shirt, tie, bow tie, and a suit jacket. Not only do you look sexy as hell, I would like to rip those clothes off of you. So it has both the effect on me. But then when we outside of the very formal, I love when a guy's just wearing jeans and no shirt. Like, it's casual, but it's sexy. And then the really sexy, the Chippendale version, is when they're just wearing the cuffs and the bow tie and the pants. I'm just like, please have your way with me.
I think those are pretty normal answers. For me personally, I'll never wear a bow tie because I think of Tucker Carlson, so I can't wear a bow tie. But yeah, I do hear a lot of women answering the very similar way that you did. A man wearing a suit and tie and all that stuff, for sure, no question. So I'm curious, and I'm sure a lot of your OnlyFans are curious as well. Like, what are your plans for New Year's Eve? What does Nikole do for New Year's Eve?
I don't have plans yet. And I saw you sent an invite. You're like, you should come to Vegas. And I was going to ask, what are your plans for New Year's? Because I have no plans right now.
So I've been invited to a couple different like casino events, I guess you could say. And a lot of these events in town, they come with like, steak, lobster dinner, open bar. I was also invited to the top of the Stratosphere. As you know, the views up there, I took you up there. So it's like an open bar up there and a big party up there, and you get to watch the fireworks up there. So there's several different events that I've been invited to. It's just a matter of trying to figure out which one I'm going to go to. I might go to 2. I don't know.
Oh my God. Okay. So before I had children, I used to be so cool, Brian, right? I loved parties. I loved staying up late. I loved dressing up. I love the whole 9 years. Now I have 500 children. And so with that, I feel like I usually
do a lot of children. That's a lot of sex.
That is also accurate.
That's a lot. You know what Rodney Dangerfield said? I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt you real quick. Rodney Dangerfield, the late, great comedian, said, you know what the best thing about kids is? Making them.
Facts.
Yeah. That's what he said. Yeah. I'm sorry. I digress. Go ahead.
I love you, Brian. Now I feel like most of my New Year's are very kid oriented. How can I make it fun for them? How can we make it like just fun and engaging for them? So I don't actually have like a very like a Nikole adult oriented night. So when I saw your invite, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll do something different this year.
You should come out here. How, if you don't mind me asking you this, how old are your kids, if you don't mind me asking?
No, I have so many of them. I have 8, 10, 13, 14, 16.
Wow. Okay. So if we could do this in a PG-13 type way, because we don't want to break any FCC rules, because we know MAGA Republicans will call up and will be very offended by it, which they are apparently. Can you give me an example? Let's role play here. I don't think this is anything new to you. Pretend like I'm your kid for a moment, and you have to give me the birds and the bees discussion in a very PG-13 way. If I said, Mommy, what is sex? What does that mean? Like, in a PG-13 way, how do you describe that to your kids?
Okay, so I've had this conversation multiple times, and it depends how they ask. I have kids who ask more explicitly, and I answer more explicitly. Then I have kids who ask very.
You don't have to do the explicit answer.
Yeah, those like, where do babies come from? And I'll say, when two people really love each other, they like to go into the bedroom and have privacy, and they snuggle, and then a baby is made that night.
I
Like real PG, where it's just like two people who care
Yeah.
about each other. They go away and have private time, and this is where it all begins.
I like that answer. I will say this though, because I'm so negative. If that was true, that people had sex only because they loved each other,
I know.
99% of sex would not be happening.
Oh my God. I mean, that's what, like, I do feel a little weird about it because you're right. Like, terrible things happen. People do it for all kinds of bad reasons. But I'm like, I'm going to paint a positive picture of a world I'm trying to create where people do it because they care about each other. They want the kid. They're planning on it. But we know, I mean, I can even say 4 of my 5 were not planned. So it's like, we've all been there.
Yes, no question about that.
Yeah.
I would also say that if babies were made from snuggling, boy, I'd have a lot of kids I really didn't want. That's for sure. But thank God. But no, I like that answer though, because it's not graphic. It's about love, and I think the kids will understand that. And I think that's I think that's
and
actually cool.
What's been really fun too, I've told my kids recently, I was like, do you want to know how I used to think where babies used to come from when I was a kid? And they're like, yeah. And I said, I thought whenever grown-ups kissed. Because when I saw my parents kiss, because I was the second of 4, I felt like my mom got pregnant and she got bigger every time. So I just thought, oh, every time you kiss, you get pregnant and your belly gets bigger. And so then my youngest is like, oh, Mom, I used to think when people hugged, they got pregnant. So then we end up, like, they all end up opening, sharing how they thought babies were made. And
yeah, you have to tell your kids it's not, you're not getting bigger from kissing, you're getting bigger from going to the buffet. That's usually what makes it. That's usually what makes it a lot bigger. That's for sure. Yeah. So tell me this. We got New Year's Eve coming up.
Yes.
Christmas. This is supposed to be a time where families get together and have a good time. And I don't mean to pry on this, but I know that, listen, you come from a family that was very religious. You were a pastor, and obviously your family didn't like what you're doing and probably still don't like what you're doing now. Do you even have interaction with your family during Christmas and stuff? I mean, do you guys talk?
You know what? I just told my OnlyFans this morning. This is the first Christmas in, I think, 5 years that I've bought gifts for my parents.
Oh, that's nice.
Because we've been estranged the past 4 years. And I actually got excited to buy them gifts. And I haven't mailed it yet, so they'll get it late, very Nikole style. But I got excited because I told them, I think that separation was very important for me to really, like, take care of myself and them to learn they can't treat me poorly and still have a relationship with me. But at the end of the day, I'm not a hater. I'm a lover, and I want to be connected and I want to have a relationship. So this is the first time in years that we've had any contact, that I've gotten them gifts, that I had the kids make them gifts. And
that's nice.
It feels really good, especially after being estranged for so many years.
I'm happy to hear that. That's cool, and hopefully they'll return the favor and send you something. I hope they do that anyway. So you see this in movies sometimes. You see this at birthday parties where sometimes a wrapped Christmas gift is somebody like you coming out of for your boyfriend or your husband. It happens all the time. Have you ever done anything like that before?
No, but I should. And okay, this is the other side of having multiple children. It's usually never sexy because it's like you're taking care of all your kids and you make it about them. So I've never been able to do something sexy like that. And I think that would be so amazing to do.
You should do that. You should do that in Las Vegas, and Numchuck will be there to watch.
Yes, Numchuck, will you film it for us?
Yes, I think he will.
Why not?
I think he will.
He'll sacrifice.
Yes. Do you wrap your own gifts, by the way?
I do, and I'm an excellent rapper.
I'm terrible at that.
Oh, good at rapping. Everyone's like, how do you do that? But I love wrapping gifts.
I'm just so bad at that. Where do you learn how to do something like that?
I learned from my dad. My dad's very by the book, and he showed me how we use every last scrap of paper, and you measure twice, cut it once, kind of thing. So you I get it down to the millimeter. It's so fun for me.
What would be the perfect gift for you? Probably can't be sexually. We probably can't go that route because it's a family show. But what would be the best gift for you that you think somebody could give you? It could be your mom, your dad. It could be a boyfriend, anybody. What would that be?
Okay, genuinely, it would be a size 5-night stay at some gorgeous resort in a tropical location. If
Circus. Oh no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Vegas, dream location. Yeah, it's if I could get whisked away on a trip, that's probably my biggest love language because there's thoughtfulness, there's generosity. It's a break from working full time.
Sure.
I love tropical locations. Like if someone took me away for a trip, I would just melt in their
I
arms.
I think that would be a great gift for anybody. Like go to the Bahamas or something, right? For
Oh
5
my God,
days.
I
It's
would
raining
die.
all day in Vegas today, by the way. I don't know
It's
what the
raining
hell is
all
going
day
on.
in California. It
Yeah,
is,
what's there's like some
and it
big
was raining
storm.
all day in Hawaii. I was in Hawaii this weekend, and it rained all 3 days we were there. It's
I was in Honolulu a few years ago, and I was in like almost seemed like a tsunami. I mean, it rains a lot down there, and it
crazy.
was pretty bad actually. The flooding is pretty bad there, but when it rains here and when it rains hard, the flooding gets pretty bad here, and then it clears up like
Totally.
10 minutes later. Yeah, it's very strange here, that's for sure. But New Year's Eve is always a blast in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is
I
always a
love
blast
that.
on any day, but
I
the
agree.
fireworks are really cool, and everyone's just out
Yeah,
here,
I love
having
fireworks.
a really good time. So what do we have here, Numchuck? What are you showing
The
me?
high roller.
Oh, okay. So if you want to be on the high roller for New Year's Eve, here's the package here, so to speak.
Ooh, what's
You get a
the
firework viewing with premium open bar and champagne toast on board at midnight. You have access to the VIP New Year's Eve party starting at 10 p.m. with premium open bar, catering, live music and entertainment, and priority boarding with dedicated guest service ambassador. How much do you think that costs?
Oh my God. I'm like, I went first. I went 150. I'm like, that's too cheap. 500. I have
Wow,
no.
that's really good. You nailed it. That's literally that's what it is. It's $500. Yeah, you
Yes,
got it.
I
And that
got
is to be at the top
Yeah,
at midnight.
I got to be honest with you. It could be worse than that. I mean, you got
it.
open bar, you got food. Is that per person?
I'm sure
Yeah,
it is.
so
It's got to
probably
be.
$1,000 for a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to get some loving right at the end of the night after a night like that, right,
Mhm,
Nikole? You have to.
mhm.
You have to.
Yeah. The
Yes,
ultimate fireworks.
that's right. Well, on that note, Nikole, I hope you have a wonderful firework Christmas and New
I
Year's
have
Eve.
a quick question for you. I want to
Yes,
ask you, what
sure.
would be your dream gift for Christmas?
Again, not sexual. Let me think here for a minute.
Exactly.
I think I'm going to go the route you went, and I'm thinking of kind of stealing what you said.
It's a
For
good one.
me, I think it would be just taking a vacation somewhere, being
Mm.
able to hang out on a beach somewhere
Oh,
and just relax and not
yes.
have to worry about anything. It's something I desperately need right now. So that would probably be the number one for me.
So to all our listeners right now, if you want to get us both a size 5-night stay to a
Yeah.
tropical location, Brian and I are open to receiving.
I'm down. I'm down for that. I have a listener asking me right now, is that 2 beds or 1 bed? Because they're trying to book it. I have to tell them they're trying to book it right now.
Wait, is it for them or is it for us? Are they coming?
No, it's definitely not for them. They're not coming. I don't want my listeners around. No, I'm just kidding. But that would definitely be a great gift for me.
Oh,
I always love clothes, right? I need some fashion tips, and I always need some
yeah.
help there. So, but I would say 100% that way. And I need a new phone. My phone is just
Ooh.
awful. I mean, it's like I've dropped it like 10 times, and I need a new phone. So that would
And you don't
probably.
have a case on it. You are
I know.
crazy.
I know. I don't have, and I do so much work on my phone too, and I'm an idiot. I don't have a case. I didn't have a case on it.
Do you have
I've
a
dropped
screen
it like 10
protector?
times. I've showed this phone in the last couple weeks to some very famous people and some people that are very prominent people, and they've all said you need a new phone. So,
This is true.
I definitely need a new phone.
Do you have a
Nikole?
screen cover on it?
I don't.
Oh my God, Brian, we need to upgrade.
I know.
Upgrade.
His
Take
screen
care of
is
your stuff.
his screen is destroyed.
It's really bad.
100%.
Yeah, it's really bad. And I haven't picked up my phone and thrown it out of anger. I've
Yes.
dropped it accidentally multiple times, and eventually it can only take so much. So what are you going to do? Anyway, Nikole, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas and a wonderful New Year's with you and your lovely family. And I look forward to catching up with you next week. Okay. I can't wait to
love
hear
it.
about how it went. Okay.
I will. Thank you, Brian. Have a wonderful weekend.
right.
You too, Numchuck.
All right, Nikole, take care. That's Nikole Mitchell, everybody. Always a pleasure having her on. And you also have to check her out on OnlyFans. This is a family show, but you will get some entertainment for your dollar. I will say that. Numchuck, can you confirm or deny that?
This is correct.
I'm going to take a Trump and plead the fifth.
Fair enough. Justin's going to take the fifth on that. Anyway, my thanks to my guest today, by the way, Nikole Mitchell, of course. Hope she has a great Christmas. Also, great. Super cool. And Daren Millard. clearing out what was a 24-hour radio controversy of a shouted out. I feel like I have like debates and controversy in studio almost every day. So it's nice when I get to hear about another local Las Vegas radio controversy, because I feel like I'm having it literally in studio every day. Look, man, in closing here, I will say this. During the holidays is it's certainly a fun time to be with family, but it's also a very difficult time to be with family. When you've lost loved ones and you've lost people in your life, whether it be friends, whether it be family members, and we've all been through it, right? I'm not the only one. I'm not special to this, but I'd be lying to everybody if I said this wasn't a really, 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 really brutal year for myself personally. Losing my sister at the age of 37, I think about her every day, and it's going to be tough. I've lost some friends. I've lost some very close friends. So it's been a rough year. And like I said, we've all been through it, right? Especially with COVID, we've lost too many people too young, too soon. And, that's why when I talk about any type of tragedy, whether the UNLV campus, what took place there with that shooting, or really any type of violence or any tragedy that happens, I talk about it, and I try to talk about it with as much empathy as I can. And listen, during the holidays, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be without their loved ones, for all sorts of different reasons. Could be an accident, could be a disease, could be a shooting, violence, you name it. So I just wanted to say that I'm thinking about all of you. We're all going through it, right? For different reasons, different people. But life is a pretty precious thing, and you have to enjoy it. And enjoy and try to appreciate every day you're here. And that's why I try to do things that make me happy every day, besides doing this radio show, which most of the time makes me happy. But tomorrow's going to be a big sports day in this town. And I'm a big sports junkie, as anybody knows. So Florida Atlantic and Arizona, two really good college basketball teams. I'm going to be going to that game tomorrow. It starts at noon at T-Mobile Arena. And then I'm going to be going right down the street to the Vegas Bowl, which starts at 4:30, two really good college football teams. So really fun sports day tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to that. And that's what you got to do in life, right? Listen, some people, they're not in a situation where they can buy tickets to something like that, right? But you got to be able to create your own happiness. And that's, not that I'm one really to give advice, but you have to do things that make you happy in this short life that we live in. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what your job is. You can always find ways to do things that make you happy. Listen, some people, I don't know. I don't know who I'm talking about here, but I'm just using this as an example. Somebody that might play caveman Keno till 4:00 in the morning. It makes certain people happy, folks. But you got to do what makes you happy. It could be anything, bungee jumping out of airplanes. It's not really my thing. It's not really what I enjoy. But if you enjoy it, then go ahead and do it and makes you happy. As long as it's not illegal, do it if it makes you happy. As far as the holidays go, as far as Christmas goes, I'm going to be having brunch with my family, and that certainly will make me happy. And I don't know what I'm going to be doing the rest of the day. Probably watching some sports on TV and relaxing, and then putting together this radio show for all of you for Tuesday. But I appreciate everybody watching, as I mentioned before. And I really do hope that everybody has a wonderful Christmas and a great holiday. And be safe out there, man. Be safe out there. And as we head into, next week we'll be talking more about it. But the year in review 2023, heading into a new year. Boy, the next year politically is going to be crazy. We'll be trying to cover it best we can. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I appreciate you all. And everybody